I'm a hair mineral analysis expert. I have a background in functional medicine, and I educate people using HTMA testing to maximize health, erase debilitating symptoms, and gain energy. I'm a multi-time kettlebell sport world champion, and I'm constantly searching for high-performance pros from all over the world to bring you this human optimization podcast. My name is Lisa Pitel-Killah. Welcome, everybody, to a brand new episode of this Human Optimization podcast. And I'm so super excited today to have here with us my coach, SERGEY RUDNEV. So please welcome SERGEY. He is one of the most decorated kettlebell sport athletes. At 8 years old, SERGEY was a gymnast, wrestler, and into MMA prior to lifting at kettlebell sport. He started using kettlebells in his general physical preparedness training around age 13. A few years after, he decided to compete. He achieved his Master of Sport at age 24 and his Master of Sport International class by the age of 30. SERGEY is a 6-time winner of the Cup of Russia, a 5-time champion of Russia, the 2010 European champion, and a 6-time world champion. He has some incredible personal records, including 32 by 32 kilo jerk for 109 reps, 32 kilo snatch for a personal best of 156 reps, and 32 plus 32 kilo long cycle for 60 reps. And these are huge numbers considering that he competes in the 68 kilo weight class. So it's basically almost your body weight. SERGEY has more than 32 online students, and his coaching achievements include 200 plus candidates for Master of Sport, 51 Masters of Sport, 10 International Masters of Sport, 2 Honored Masters of Sport, and 8 World Champions. Wow, what an incredible list of achievements. I almost needed 2 sheets of paper for that one. So I'm so happy you're here with us, and so let's dive in. Give us a little history about when you started lifting kettlebells, how that all kind of came about.
It was 16 kilos kettlebell, and I started use kettlebells from the age of 13 years old, when I was a schoolboy, and I went to wrestling, freestyle Olympic wrestling, and I used kettlebell in the system of my general physical preparedness.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then basically, and how did you find out about kettlebell sport?
Kettlebell sport, I started training for kettlebell sport, especially for competition from 22 years old.
Okay.
I started compete from 17, but I was a wrestler, and it was a championship of military university. I was a military cadet, and I competed in my military university, but without special preparedness.
Okay, I understand. So that's incredible considering, so now basically kettlebell sport, you really started competing when you were 22 and you were a Master of Sport 2 years later.
Yes, I start compete especially for kettlebell sport and training and compete for especially for kettlebell sport from 22, and I achieve the rank of Master of Sport after 2 years training.
That is incredible. Wow. Commitment, dedication, a lot of work. Because that's a huge accomplishment, especially in 2 years. Not a lot of us can say that, that we've done that. It takes us a lot longer. So tell us, what was the first kettlebell movement that you learned or that you really loved, that you used all the time in your GPP?
My first exercise with kettlebells was a single long cycle.
Single long cycle, okay?
Yeah, single long. Yeah, because it's very, very simple and very useful exercise for training with kettlebell.
Yeah. Okay, good. And so tell us about that very first competition, and kind of how you felt, what you were expecting, and how that went for you.
My first competition was the championship of my military university. I was 17. I was a cadet of the first year of education, and I compete with kettlebells 24 kilograms, and in weight class up to 30 kilograms. And my result was yes,
Oh my gosh.
only 8 repetitions in jog, and my result in snatch was 31 plus 31 repetitions. It was not so high result, but it was enough for take a first place.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes, because all athletes compete without any special preparedness.
Right, right. And of course, that's a huge part of programming. And we're going to get into that a little bit later when we talk about that online training and the programming. And so talk about your most memorable achievement to date. And we are going to revisit some of those championships and touch on the world championships you just came back from. But kind of tell us about what would be the most memorable for you at this point.
I think the more important date of my competition and of my victories win, it was October 1998 when I become the Russian champion the first time. I competed in biathlon with 32 kilos, and my result was 99 repetitions in jog, and snatch 63 plus 63.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah. Wow. And I know that that the Russian championships, though, that's how obviously Russia picks their national team. So that is a really tough competition to win.
Yeah, it's very tough competition.
Yeah.
Because a lot of participants in each weight category is usually 20 or more than 20 participants, very high class athletes. Yes.
And so for a lot of us, obviously here in North America, where kettlebell sport is still in kind of that infancy phase, for us to hear that there's 20 participants in a weight class, it's like, oh my gosh, my mind is blown. Hopefully one day we'll get there and we'll have that many people in each weight class, because that would, that's some tough competition. So I can understand why that's memorable for you.
Yes, and it's usual for Russia. And for example, if I took part in North America competition, I took part in Canada national competition, USA national competition. It looks like festival because maybe 1, 2, 3 participants in each option. It's maybe weight class, but divided by the weight of kettlebells. The same weight class you can use 16, 20 kilos, 24 kilos, and the Russian national championship compete only with 32 kilos. And all participants use only 32 kilos.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, hopefully one day we'll get there, but it's going to take us, I think it's going to take us a long time, but we're working on it. But that's incredible. And, you know, we all love the sport so much. And moving up to that next level sometimes isn't easy, you know, I mean, so at what point did you really start focusing on the 32 kilo? How many kind of, you know, when did all that happen for you, moving kind of from the 24 in competition to the 32?
I start training with 32 kilos. I tried the first time to take 32 kilos for classic exercises when I was 20. And it was not so bad result. I was able to do 12 repetitions in jog with 32 kilos, and my result in snatch was 20 plus 20. It was not competition, it was training session. I did this just for trying. What can I do with 32 kilos? But I began to train constantly with 32 kilos from 22 years old.
Okay, okay. And so tell us a little bit about the military background, because that was a big, like, I always get fascinated because the military actually has kettlebell competitions, and I mean they're lifting in their actual gear, their military gear, and that's really incredible, because we're all always very conscious of, you know, do we have our guards on, and, you know, do we have our special lifting shoes on, and the military over in Russia, when they're doing their competitions, they're actually in their military uniforms. And so tell us a little bit about that, because I think that's really interesting for a lot of people. They may not realize that happens.
Uh, Kettlebell sport in Russian army is one of the main kind of sport, and kettlebell sport include to the military system of general physical preparedness, and Russian championship of Russian army consists of two parts, two variants of competition with kettlebells. The first variant is classic lifting, biathlon and long cycle, and snatch for ladies. And one more kind is of kettlebell competition is army snatch. Army snatch. Okay. Time limit is 12 minutes, and male use kettlebells 24 or 32 kilos. It depends on age group, and female use kettlebells 16 or 24 kilos. It depends on age group too. The time limit is 12 minutes, and participants can use multiple switch of hands during the exercise.
Ah, okay.
And compete only in military uniform.
Yes, so that's the one that I've seen, and again, it's pretty incredible because we're so specific sometimes about what we're, you know, how we lift and our shoes and all kinds of things, and to actually watch them lift in their military uniforms and their boots and everything else, it's pretty eye-opening and humbling for sure.
Today, the cup of Russian army going in St. Petersburg. Yesterday and today, 2 days.
Oh,
and
nice.
five of my online students compete there now.
Amazing. Oh, that's great. Well, we wish them the best of luck. I'm sure they're going to do fantastic. And so tell us about some of your favorite kettlebell movements, because obviously there's going to be lots of people watching and listening that love kettlebells. And so tell them what some of your favorite movements are for fitness.
My favorite kettlebell movement is snatch.
Okay.
I have been practicing in it for over 30 years. But I continue to learn constantly something new about the technique of this exercise.
And it's true.
I know.
We're going to be talking about this 20 years from now. We're like, I'm still learning more about the snatch. I've changed it. It's very true.
Also, I like two more not classic exercises, monkey press and Turkish get up.
Okay, so Turkish get up, a lot of people are going to know that. Now, a lot of people are not going to know what the monkey press is. I do, but can you explain what that is if someone wanted to try and do that?
Monkey press, you should have monkey, gymnastic bar and kettlebell. you should take a grip, one hand grip to gymnastic bar, and take the kettlebell to free arm. Clean kettlebell to the chest, and then press from the chest during the grip on the one hand.
Okay, so for those of you listening and watching, so just to make sure you understand, we're talking about a gymnastic bar or a pull-up bar or a rogue bar at your gym.
Or maybe gymnastic ring.
Or a ring, yeah, you can use the rings, and just hanging on with one hand and then cleaning and pressing the bell with the other hand. And then obviously switching, because we need to do the same on both sides.
Very specific exercise.
I love it. Well, and so a lot of people see you do a lot of different gymnastic tricks, right? So you were a gymnast, obviously, when you were younger. And so I always get a lot, especially at my gym, and they say, oh my goodness, I saw, you know, Sergey doing a handstand with the bell around his neck. And so there's lots of different things that you do. So let's say someone wanted to do some fun things like juggling. Because I know that juggling I feel like is kind of a big part of what you do, for sure. I've seen you juggle blindfolded. I've seen you juggle very heavy bells. And so to get into juggling, I mean, what would be one of the first easy juggling techniques, I guess, that someone could learn and kind of adapt fairly quickly?
I started to try juggling when I was, I think, 17 years old, and the first weight of kettlebell was 24.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
yes.
For those of you watching and listening, you start with an 8. Just to make sure you know what you're doing.
I was a military cadet, and I had only 24 kilos kettlebells in my disposal. So my first experience was with 24.
Okay. And so what was the first juggling movement that you did? Tell us what it was, or does it have a name, or?
It was flip back.
Okay, so backflip, so flipping the bell back towards you and then catching it.
Yes.
Okay, because I know that a lot of people as well will do kind of what we call the helicopter. So that one is where you kind of, bring it up from the swing and then kind of spin it around and catch it as it spins kind of on this horizontal axis. And I find that one to be not too difficult. Some of the other ones are a lot more difficult and advanced, obviously. But if somebody wanted to learn juggling and kind of watch, I mean, you can learn a lot from videos if you know how to do a few lifts with kettlebells. Is there a link that they can go to watch some videos of you doing some juggling?
Juggling is not main part of training for me.
Okay.
Usually I use juggling for warm up before training session or just for fun.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not professional juggler, and I never compete in juggling.
Well, and what about your daughter? Because she was going to compete in juggling, was she not?
Yes, my daughter is now she was a gymnast. Mm-hmm. Now she is professional kettlebell juggler.
Okay.
She took the third place at the Russian National Championship. It was 1 month ago.
Amazing. Well, that's wonderful.
And next Sunday, mm-hmm. November 15, she will compete at Moscow Open.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay. Well, you make sure you wish her good luck for us. And so, and I'm sure that on, between your Facebook page and Instagram, there's definitely some videos of her juggling and some videos where you're doing the monkey press and some juggling as well. So I'll make sure the link is at the end of this podcast so that people can visit and watch. And so tell us about your supplementary training. So more about GPP. You know, we talk about special preparedness, and that is basically doing your sport lifting. But what are some of the favorite kind of accents for GPP that you like to go with that, that you use in some of your online programming?
The main physical quality in kettlebell sport is endurance. And the second physical quality is special flexibility. So general physical, the system, my system of general physical preparedness direct to improve special endurance and special flexibility. And I use a lot of variants of cyclical exercises such as running, cycling, rowing, skiing, swimming, for me and for my students. Is main part, one of the main part of my training program, more important than juggling for me.
Juggling's for fun.
And also, I like circuit trains. I like combine some exercises with kettlebells and with other equipment. It depends on what equipment you have in your disposal. And I combine like cyclical training and the duration of training, usually from 8 to 12 or 15 minutes, and I perform the exercises with kettlebells or other equipment one by one without the rest. The duration for each exercise from 1 to 2 minutes, and perform these exercises one by one without the rest.
Okay. And so some people don't do anything with gloves. And I know that's a big part of your online training. So tell us a little bit about that, about you know, why the gloves are used, if there's lifts that they're more important for, and yeah, let's educate people on glove training.
I think snatch with gloves and clean with gloves very useful and helpful for improving of your grip. Because usually during the snatch the first part of your body tie your fingers, and you should improve the fingers flexors, especially for grip kettlebell. And snatch with gloves is the best exercise for improving the grip working capacity for snatch. Because during this snatch with gloves, the friction between your palm and the handle is minimum, and you can get a good training load for your fingers at the finish of your training session, when your body tight, all part of your body tight, and you can pay more attention for improve your conditioning of your fingers flexors. And you should take a kettlebell and handle of kettlebell should be without chalk, should be clean. You can use a sandpaper for clean kettlebell, the handle of kettlebell, and put the gloves to your palms. It should be cotton gloves for worker, I think.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good description. Just
Yeah.
just cotton working, and obviously nothing on them, right? Just cotton. Some of them have the patches that are rubberized and think though that's cheating. You can't have those ones. You just have to have the cotton ones so that the bell will move. And yeah, it does definitely help grip strength a lot. And I find for myself, it also because your body's fatigued, because your grip is fatigued, and you're really trying to hone in on making the best out of that technique, your technique gets much better by doing glove snatch. I definitely have found that for myself for sure. So if you're not doing glove snatch already, then it's something that you're going to want to add into your training. And so I don't know if everybody knows this. I feel like they already do, but you just got back from the World Championship. You were all over. So you were in Serbia at the World Championships. And so tell us how that went.
Yes, I took part in UKL World Championship in Serbia 5 weeks ago. I took the first place among veterans, 54 years old, in weight category 273 kilos. It was the lightest weight. My body weight, usual body weight, about 66, 67, but I compete in weight class 273 kilos because it's lightest weight among veterans. And I used the kettlebells 24 kilos. My result was 135 reps in jog and 208 reps in snatch.
Unbelievable numbers. That is incredible. Incredible. And yeah, so I mean, anyone who's jerked double 24s, 135, that is a very, very fast pace. Very fast pace. So congratulations. And then was it a week later or 2 weeks later you decided you were going to go to the World Championships in marathon?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Later,
2 weeks later. So tell us what you did 2 weeks later.
Yeah, I participated in the third World Championship in kettlebell marathon in Polish.
Okay, and tell us. And so, what lift did you do in marathon, or did you do more than one?
I competed among veterans over 50 years old in weight class to 75 kilos. I did 1 hour single jog with 20 kilograms, and my result was 1, 2, 3, 4, 1,234 reps.
Oh my gosh. And so is that an official or unofficial world record? I feel like it must be.
I think yes. Yes. I have not checked. I will. I think yes.
I've sparked your curiosity. You're like, I think it is actually. I feel like it must be. So that's amazing.
Participant in this nomination. Therefore, I took the first place. But I'm pleased with my result.
Well, you definitely should be. That's something to be very proud of. And I mean, to do it 2 weeks, I mean, most people go to the World Championships and then they take, a week off of lifting completely and then start another microcycle that's very easy. And you just 2 weeks later decided to do, another World Championship in marathon for 60 minutes. So that's a pretty incredible task. And being away from home for many, many weeks at that point too. So that's great. Big congratulations on that. And so with marathon, tell us about kind of how you got into marathon and why that became part of your what's in your toolbox.
Marathon. I like marathon. I think I will compete in marathon sometime. My next competition in marathon will be in Korea next April.
Okay.
I will compete in classic lifts. It will be 2 days competition. First day classic lifts and second day marathon. I think I will compete in classic lifts in biathlon. First day I will compete in biathlon, and second day I will compete in marathon.
Wow, that's going to be pretty incredible to be back-to-back days doing a biathlon and marathon. But if anybody can do it, you can. So tell us. So I mean, you know, we've got lots of new lifters coming up in North America now. We're really trying to grow the sport. Obviously, there's lots of organizations throughout North America that are that have their agendas and trying to get junior lifters in to get people lifting kettlebells younger. And so, if someone was new to kettlebells, what would be a piece of advice that you would give to them?
I can advise to novice kettlebell lifters to observe the principle of gradualness in training, from light to heavy, from light weights of kettlebells to heavy weights. Don't take heavy weights if you are not ready for this. And from simple to complex exercises. Start from simple exercise. I think the first exercise, what beginners athletes should learn and train is swing with kettlebell. A double swing and single swing. And then clean, then jerk or press, and then snatch, and so on. From simple to complex.
Very, very good advice. And I think, you know, talking about going from light bells to heavy bells and a slow progression, because, you know, we both see so many people who are lifting bells that are heavier than they can handle, and then they eventually get injured. And that's a scary thing, because, you know, avoiding injury is, for me, is one of my main things for myself and my students, because I want to have longevity with kettlebells. I want to be lifting them for a very long time, and I want them to be lifting them for a long time too. And I think that's one of the biggest things, is we get a little bit impatient and we want to move into heavier things, but your body has to be ready. Your nervous system has to be ready. You mentally have to be ready. There's a lot of factors that have to be ready. So let's talk about a seasoned kettlebell lifter. So maybe somebody who is, you know, has got a world championship, maybe in the amateur division, is moving up to pro. How would your advice differ for them?
As for seasoned athletes, I want to say that you should never stop in your development. Always try to learn something new. You should learn something new in the technique of classic lifts, in the technique of jog, snatch, long cycle, and try to learn new exercises. I like not only kettlebell sport. I like fitness with kettlebell. I use fitness with kettlebells. I use a lot of exercises with kettlebells, all kinds of lunges, squats, pulls, and so on. I like to create some combinations with kettlebells, with kettlebell basic exercises, and use fitness with kettlebell in my system of general physical preparedness, and it's very useful for another kind of sports.
Yes, and I agree with that, absolutely. Because kettlebells it's all about endurance, there's power, you can build strength, like they're very versatile. And I think that a lot of people who are in a sport, even if it's not kettlebell sport, but doing a sport, can benefit from using kettlebells for fitness. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I want to talk a little bit about your online programming because I've obviously been your student for many years now, and so you know, how did you come up with the formulas for how you do your programming for students, and maybe touch a little bit on microcycles? People might not understand the idea behind microcycles.
Um, Usually, my programming, my kind of programming consists of microcycles. Duration of microcycles usually from 1 to 2 weeks. I like to use 2 weeks microcycle for jog and long cycle, and I use 1 week microcycle for snatch usually, because training loads should be not at the constant level. It should be training load should be up and down. You should have the rest. You should have possibility for recovery between main training sessions.
Absolutely. Yeah, very important. And again, that comes back to, you know, when we're talking about learning new things and kind of keeping things fun, it's always good to have a day. Well, everybody needs to have a day off. You know, we don't need to train 6 days a week. How often do your athletes train when you're doing online programming?
Usually 4 days per week.
Yeah. So again, not we have to watch overtraining. A lot of people are doing a lot more than that. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with if you're doing kettlebell sport and you're doing sport specific lifts and some GPP, you know, doing some cardio on a couple of other days that you enjoy, and then definitely having one day off so the body can rest. Very important. And so let's talk about working with you. How can people, you know, let's say there's a kettlebell lifter out there, they want to do some online sport programming. How does it work? How do you operate your online programming?
To get started online training with me, at first I need some information about my new student. At first, I should know body weight, age, and duration of training experience in kettlebell sport.
Mhm.
Also, I should know the best results in kettlebell, in classic lifts of kettlebell sport. If my student won't compete in long cycle, I should know his or her results in long cycles, in long cycle with different kind of weights of kettlebells. For example, if my student would like to compete with 24, I should know his results with 16, 20, and 24 kilos. Next, I should know the date of the next 2 or 3 competitions. Next, I should know the results of 2 or 3 previous competitions. Next, I should know the weights, what weights of kettlebells my student has in his or her disposal. How many days a week my student can train. Next, about I should have the information about the health of my student.
Yes, very important.
And next, I should know about experience of my students in other kind of sports, maybe the running, swimming, football, and so on.
Yeah.
Next, I should get videos with classic lifts by my students in side and frontal view.
And that's on a weekly basis, right? That's part of the program, that when they submit their program, then the videos come along with it. And the analysis is done by you to help them improve technique.
Yes, yes. I should check the technique of my students, and I should see what is how my students feeling at the finish of the set. It's maybe my student to put kettlebell to the platform and dancing, and or maybe,
and that was so easy. Have we ever done that? I feel like I've never done that.
or maybe took kettlebell or kettlebells to the platform and drop down.
Yeah, that sounds like me.
near the kettlebells now, like you.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and that's great. So, I mean, super important for everybody who's watching and listening. If you are thinking about getting into sport, which obviously I love it, I highly recommend it. It is so great, not only for physical, but for mental. If you don't have the mental grit and capacity there, then kettlebell sport is going to be really tough for you, but it's going to make your mental tougher. So something to think about. But to make sure that you're getting the best out of your performance, an online coach is really key if you don't have a kettlebell sport coach in your area. Because, you know, there's so much we can do online now. We can analyze videos and improve techniques, sending videos back and forth to make sure that that technique gets better and better, and to obviously make sure that you can reach whatever goals you have in kettlebell sport. Yeah. Good. Okay. So I'm going to have links at the end of this video and podcast of how to contact Sergey if you're interested in chatting about online programming. And I'll also have his social media links as well, so you can check out his pages and give him a thumbs up and a like. So thanks for joining us today, whether you're listening or watching. We're glad that you're here with us. And if you're watching, give us a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel to be a brand new podcast every 2 weeks, as well as a brand new video every week. And if you're on your favorite podcast host, make sure you give us a like. Thanks for listening to today's show. Head on over to Killah, KILLAH.org to gain access to some amazing resources that will help you gain energy, rid yourself of debilitating symptoms, and be the best version of you. Remember to give this podcast a like and follow me on Instagram at coach.killah. I'm here every 2 weeks with a brand new episode of the Human Optimization Podcast. Until next time.